I'm going to try to make this as quickly as possible, although it may take a little time. For those that don't know me, my name is Vicki Foster. I've been on the police department for almost 30 years, recently retired. And it has taken me a really long time to post this video. I've been really quiet on Facebook, and some people have noticed. It's been about a week. I actually did a video, and then I got so emotional that I couldn't even post it. I couldn't even finish the video. So I'm finally to the point where I can talk about it. And the reason I want to talk about it is because it's one of those things that is so hard to explain, but it's something that has to be done. And I'm not the person that, vents all my frustrations on Facebook and social media. And I think that's great for people that need that as an outlet. I think that's fine. It's just not me. Because when I vent, I want to have at least some type of solution. And I'm not here to profess that my proposal and my solution is the end all be all. But I do want to tell you all what I've been working on. And I hope that you will share this video and that it will eventually go viral if we can, so that we can get this information to the people that it needs to go to. So I penned a letter to the Chief of Minneapolis, to the International Association of Chiefs of Police, which most chiefs of police are a member of, and to major city chiefs. And those are chiefs that are of larger size departments, typically 500 or more members. And I penned this open letter because it's not rocket science stuff, but it's something that needs to happen. And I wouldn't dare sit here and say that police agencies are not thinking about this and they're not looking at their policies and they're not looking to revise their policies, because I know they are. I know they are. But mine is just a little bit different. So I penned this open letter, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it. I'll show it to you. It's actually 2 pages. But I'm only going to read you a couple of highlighted areas just to save you from listening to all that I had to say in this letter. So my letter seeks to specifically note the dangers concerning neck restraints and chokeholds, and poses that police policy on a national level should adopt a standardized stance on chokeholds and neck restraints. And the policy reform could definitely prevent unnecessary loss of life without impact to officer safety. This could prevent any incident similar to that of Mr. Floyd's death from occurring in future law enforcement interactions. I'm only coming up with one thing for right now, because we as a people, this is everybody, we're so emotional right now, and I am too, trust me. We're so emotionally charged that we're all over the place. We're all over the place. And we got to come together and narrow this down and start asking for specific things. So I have about 3 or 4 things, but I got enough sense to know that me, myself, and everybody else that'll want to be involved, we can only focus on one thing at a time. And that's the only way we're going to get anything done. So we can come up with 4 or 5, which I have, ideas, but we need to do one thing at a time. And let me just say, for me, I'm retired. So this is not anything that I need. I probably don't even want the backlash that may come. But it's important for me to get this information out. I'm not looking for anything. I don't have any desire. I'm on TV and radio whenever. So this is not a stunt for me. This is serious for me. And, I got to try to keep myself from getting a little emotional and choked up about it, because this is so serious. I've never seen our country like this. In light of what's happened today, in light of what's happening right this very minute, I've never seen this before. And we have to listen to what I'm telling you. We have to come up with things that can be sustained, things that can be changed, things that don't take state legislator and federal government, and things that'll take forever, because we need things to happen now. So some of the things that I wrote in the letter, I'm just going to give you very briefly. So there are many agencies who have already enacted policy changes. They have, and they focus on the education of respiratory challenges and factors during restraint and possible causes. They provide medical reasoning on positional asphyxiation and its dangers. They examine the possible venues of positional asphyxiation, and they note warning signs that require repositioning of subjects to ensure that there are no restrictions to the airway, and constant monitoring of the employee of the subject's well-being. So while there is no, let me just be clear, there is no one answer to all the problems with law enforcement in the community. But there is one step that we can tackle one at a time and relatively quickly. So my recommendation for policy revision is as follows. Officers will not use the following tactics unless deadly force is reasonably necessary. That means they will not do any chokehold or neck restraint with an arm, a knee, with or without a device, or anything that restricts a person's airway. They will not do any strike with an impact weapon or object to a person's head or neck. That's our first change. And I know people are like, well, that we got to do more, and we will, but we got to do one step at a time. And so things that you all may not understand is that policy changes like that are in the hands of the chiefs of police. So they are able to make those changes without legislative changes, without all of that. They can make those changes. So the IACP, which is the International Association of Chiefs of Police, they did a consensus policy in 2017. And it was a bunch of stakeholders involved. And they basically talked about an armbar hold. And that's where an officer places his or her forearm across the front of the individual's neck and then applies pressure for the purpose of cutting off airflow. These are extremely dangerous maneuvers that can easily result in serious bodily injury or death. Therefore, the consensus policy recommended that you only use that when deadly force is authorized. Now, this is already a consensus policy that was intended to be used as a national guideline for individual law enforcement policies. But due to recent events and past death patterns, it's vital that this stance be adopted by all law enforcement organizations throughout the nation. Chokeholds and neck restraints must be defined as deadly force so that officers utilize them only in deadly force situations. It is my request that the International Association of the Chiefs of Police, major cities chiefs of police, and specifically the individual state associations of police, in particularly Minnesota State Police, I request that they add to their agenda this immediate discussion and revision and utilize the above suggested policy to shift and devise a new standardized policy across all police organizations. In order to protect the public and law enforcement entities, this shift in policy must be made as quickly as possible. All agencies got to work collaboratively together. They have to. There has to be a change. And I will say, this is just one thing. Remember, there are other things, and I can get into that today. But if we start with one thing that we can make happen and that we can change relatively quickly, then we can have an impact. Our biggest problem as a country, as a people, is that everybody is frustrated and they just don't know what to do. And I understand that better than most. Being on the side of law enforcement, being an African-American woman, I understand it. So what I'm going to ask, because I'm going to give a charge to all people. I'm not the end-all, be-all to everything, contrary to some people that wanted to know why I hadn't spoken yet. I'm not the end-all, be-all, but I am one that can tell you what needs to happen. So this letter that I've written, I'm going to make it into an open form letter. And what you will be able to do is to go in and put Dear your chief's name for whatever city that you're in. You'll be able to put the name in and then basically send the letter. And the letter is going to be the request for the changes that I'm actually talking about right now. So you will have the ability, wherever you are, to request those changes. And so I don't know how receptive this will be. And honestly, I can't worry about that. I got to do what I can do, because me getting on Facebook and yelling and screaming and battling back and forth with people is not what I can do. I just can't physically do it. And so I'm telling you, this is what we can do as a nation. We can come together. We can get a standardized policy that says we won't do this unless deadly force is necessary. And we know deadly force was not necessary in that situation. That's not even up for debate. So this is something that we can do. This is something that you can do. So I'll make sure that this letter is available. And when it is, I'll come back and I will let you know where to get it. I'm just putting together a Facebook page, and it's going to be revision, reform, and revise. And so I'm just going to, put it there, but I'll let you know when all that's ready. You'll be able to download it and you'll be able to send it. Now, understand this. There are a lot of other changes that need to happen, and those are on my list. But I gotta give us one thing that we can start with right now, because right now tensions are high. We've seen the protests, and I get choked up every time they show the video. It's like I just want them to stop showing it, because it is too much. And we see what's going on across the country. I'm begging for our people of all races, cultures, genders to understand that, listen, we're all frustrated. Trust me, we're all frustrated. But we gotta do stuff in the right way. You either gotta be peaceful, and I know there's gonna be people that do not agree with that, and they're gonna say, well, we've been peaceful and nothing happened. And I get that, I do. But understand what I'm telling you, the direction that we're going right now is not going to make a change. The direction and the stuff that we are doing right now is not going to make a change. And we have got to do stuff the right way. So this is the first step. I got several other steps. Yes, we need to talk about why someone has X amount of complaints and where does it go from there. Now, I know that there's a lot of issues with that. I know that there's issues with sometimes they're not substantiated. I get all of that. And that'll be my next thing. But right now, what I need everybody to do is be supportive of the fact that we want a standardized policy about chokeholds and neck restraints, arm bar holds, whatever they want to call them, is that we're not going to do that. And that's what I need people to support. And let me just say, I don't think that we'll have that much of a problem. Law enforcement officers will tell you the majority of them don't use that. Most agencies have moved away from that. Unfortunately, Minnesota still had a policy that had stuff in there that said that neck restraints was non-deadly force. That stuff has to be changed. They even had definitions of subconscious and unconscious neck restraints. What are we talking about here? And so this is things that have to happen. This is why policies have to be revised, but this is why people like us have to come forward and suggest what we want. If not, we just continue to do what we're doing, which is marching, protesting, and unfortunately, rioting and looting. And so we gotta do this the right way. We only get one shot at this, because this thing has already gone to hell in a handbasket. So I'm asking you to share this video. It needs to go viral. I need you to share this video, because my recommendations are solid. These are recommendations that can be changed by the chiefs of police. It doesn't need all the extra that goes along with it. I don't think we'll have problems with people wanting to do that, because everybody understands that you can do your job without that. Officers that I've spoken to, they're like, we don't even use that. Like, that's not something I want to do, because it puts them in just as much grave danger of being that close to someone, and they have all these other options to use. So this is not and should not be something that is officers against the community against officers. This is about just really what's right. It's about what's right. So I'm asking you, please share this video to any and everybody that you know. We got something that we can move forward with. We're gonna have to take a lot of time to get this done right. but not the time that it takes for legislators to make changes and law changes. We just got to get it right. And we can get it right. The recommendations are clear. And I've sent it, and I want us to move on it. And I just need your help. Share this video, comment on this video. If you have something that you want to say, please do. I don't have a problem with that. But understand this, I'm about solutions. I'm not about people that all they're concerned about is being on television, being on radio. I don't care about that. I've done that all my career, so I don't care about that. So I need people that are serious, and they're like, you know what? This is the first step. I got steps 2, 3, and 4 coming, trust me. But let's get this first one done first. And it's funny because I wore my off-duty shirt, and I said, you know what? As much as I don't want to get back into the law enforcement arena, sometimes God leads you into things that you have no choice, which is why I've been so silent, because I prayed on this and I had to wait until he gave me the clarity. I had to wait, and he just gave it to me on Saturday. So this is what we can do. First step, let's do it. Let's go. Let's do the right things. I have my off-duty shirt on, but guess what? God said you're not off duty. That's what he said. And so as much as I don't want to get myself back into this, I have no choice. And so I need you. Let's do it. I'll be back. I'll tell you where you can download the letter and send it to your individual police agencies. But more importantly, share this. It's time to go. It's time to move. It's time to stop marching. It's time to be strategic. Let's go.